Steven, how do you not
Ba-ba.
how do you not love baseball after last night?
How can you not be romantic about baseball? That was so sick.
I know, God, don't I love baseball? Nobody bigger baseball fan than me.
Did you watch it?
Yes,
Good. All right. Where'd you watch it?
just the house. Just
Ah.
watched that with the Warrior game going simultaneously.
Mhm.
Adolis, am I saying his name right? Come on,
Adolis.
Adolis
Think of
Garcia.
think of like just Spanish 101, the vowels.
I had to retake that in the summertime.
A E O U. Just think of that.
Yeah,
A E I O U.
I never was good with the foreign languages. Did Spanish, did Italian in college. Only
That
thing
might be the least surprising thing I've ever heard about you.
Please don't just make these opinions about me before you know anything about what I had to go through, Stephen, with that process. It's not easy, but the thing that I always take away from learning Italian is when you're tired, you're stanco. So if you ever hear me say I'm stanco, it's because I'm tired.
But you pronounced it two different ways.
I know, but it's funnier just to say stanco.
You're so weird, dude.
Just your opinion, man. Stephen Langford, Derek Papa. Just your pregame show, man. We will get to NFL picks for Week 8. I can't believe we're already at Week 8. This used to be the halfway point back when it was a 16-game schedule, but now that we're at 17 game schedule, there's no midway point. So
No.
kind of weird. But let's talk about what happened last night. World Series, great game one. Rangers are down 5-3, bottom of the ninth. Corey Seager gets the game-tying home run, sends to extras, and Adolis Garcia wins the game. And Greg Amsinger is beside himself. Man, when I think of October, I think of Adoli, my man. This guy's the face of baseball now.
MVP. We're going on MLB Network right now. MVP.
Did he interview him post-game?
I don't know.
Oh, God, that would have been great.
I didn't watch the MLB Network postgame.
When I think of you, I think MVP, and I know it's game one, but come on, you with me, right? Yeah. You pick it up when I'm laying down, I'm getting you rock hard, aren't I? Huh?
I like how that's the impression of Greg Amsinger now. Just when I think of X, I think of you.
No, dude, my impression of him now is basically when I think of this, I think of you, and it's always going to end with me saying, I got you rock hard. Huh?
Yeah. That is something he would say. That is. Dude, did you see the thing I retweeted earlier?
No. But though I can tell, though, when you retweet stuff from our account, because I know it's not me, but I think some people could tell when it's not me, and it's definitely you.
Oh, 100%.
Because I definitely would have not found that Ryan Clark thing yesterday.
Wait, did I retweet that?
You did, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I saw it, and I was like, that's funny. I should actually play that for Tolbert to Copes, and it was funny.
Kind of genius. I love it. But
well, Ryan Clark.
What was the other thing? No, it was the side by side of George Bush throwing out the first pitch, because he did not only on September 11th, 2001, but he also did game one of the World Series that year with the Yankees against the Diamondbacks. And like he threw the first pitch, or no, did he just throw it on September 11th that year?
I think he threw it at, well, it was postponed. The World Series in 2001 was postponed. We started playing in November, and he threw out the first pitch for that between the D-backs and the Yankees.
No, the side by side is okay. So the side by side is showing the side by side is showing. Ugh, Jesus! All right,
it's early. I'm sorry. We had to get up an hour earlier today because I had to go over to USC and Cal.
The side by side is showing that it was from September 11th, his first pitch. I don't think he pitched in game one of that World Series that year. But anyway, he pitched in game one last night. And
George Bush did?
Yeah, because he used to own the Rangers. He kind of like...
He did, yeah.
Kind of turned them into what they are. Well, not what they are today, but he kind of jump-started them. But anyway.
Didn't he not trade for Sammy Sosa or something?
Yes.
Yeah.
But when he threw out the first pitch...
A lot of bad decisions there, George.
Well, that's at the bottom of the list of bad decisions that he's made. But
I take him over some people.
But the bottom of the ninth, tie game after a home run, and then the game-winning hit was from the home team, and it was a right field home run by Derek Jeter, and last night it was a right field home run by Adolis Garcia. So literally the exact same thing happened after he pitched the first pitch in both games.
Interesting.
The exact same thing.
It was a fascinating game one. I'm not sure how many people are watching, but who cares? Because us diehard baseball fans love it, right, Steven?
I'm not going to put it like that. I just think that those people are missing out because these are two incredibly fun teams.
You do understand, though. I mean, I get it. Like, I'll speak honestly for myself. Baseball is not what it used to be, in my opinion, when I was growing up. You had more stars. I don't know. I don't want to sound like an old fuddy duddy, but analytics have kind of ruined the game for me a little bit, and I know my A's team does that a lot. The only stats that I really care about when it comes to baseball is home runs, hits, RBIs, strikeouts. When it comes to pitchers, that's all I really care about. I don't really care about all the other stuff, the minutia that goes into the game now.
Well, I just don't think you knew about analytics, even though they were using them back then. I just think because analytics are at the forefront of the conversation, everyone's blaming them. But analytics have been used for long before now.
No, you are correct. It's more on the forefront now, but I'm probably using that as an excuse. I think just the game is, I don't know, just a little different. I think it's driven more by analytics, even though analytics were used back in 2000, 2001, 2002. But the game's just different to me now. I still enjoy baseball. I just don't love it like I used to.
I think it's the way they're used, though, that's different. I can definitely agree with you there, because what analytics show now is that it's more valuable to hit a home run or maybe get a walk, and it's okay to strike out rather than actually getting on base, using base hits. But like, I think that the analytics people who've gone off the game with analytics, and I totally understand that, but this series should be one where, like, this should be the series for you, because this, like, I know everyone wanted to see the Phillies, but you talk about analytics. Kyle Schwarber is like the leader of their team. The dude hit 47 bombs, but hit below 200 this year. Yeah. Like, all he does is hit home runs. That's the only reason people enjoy watching him. But this Diamondbacks team, you see the way that they were getting on base last night, stealing, small ball. Like, Corbin Carroll's probably one of the most fun players in the league, top 5 electric players in the league. And their team, it's kind of the team kind of personifies that. It's a mix of the old school and the analytics game. And I think that's why people should appreciate this World Series, if they're just kind of, putting it off because of the matchup.
No, I mean, I'm still going to watch. I always watch the World Series despite my disinterest in baseball these days. But no, I'm, no matter what, it's still a fun, interesting. I mean, gotta give props to the D-backs. They knocked off the Dodgers. They knocked off the Phillies. They're here now, and they could have easily won that game last night. So it's going to be a very interesting series.
Yeah.
From here on out. Let's switch over to the NBA real quick.
Hang on one thing. Can I just get one quick take on the World Series? I kind of stand by what I said a couple of years ago now, since he's been off the broadcast, but I miss Joe Buck. Joe Davis, he's great. Like, he's very professional, just a little too corny for my liking.
What does he bring that's corny?
Just these cliches. And it's just like what was it last night when Austin Hedges came to bat for Texas? And this was when they tied the game with the home run, and then they hit the double, or they at least got a runner on second. Then Austin Hedges could have won the game with one swing. Or was a runner on first?
No, there was a runner on first and second.
Yeah, runners on first. Okay,
they just walked somebody.
And then Austin Hedges was up, and then Joe Davis is like, he hasn't got a hit this entire postseason. He hasn't had a hit in a month. This couldn't be it, could it? It's just like these little corny sayings.
You're making him sound like he's Bill Walton.
Kind of.
Here he comes. This is the moment for Austin Hedges. Is he going to send this ball to the Hedges? The planets have aligned for this young Bucks catcher.
No, dude, there's something about Joe Davis. It's just a little corny for me. I don't really.
I think he's fine. He's no Joe Buck,
but he's just like, I miss Joe Buck. I miss Joe Buck in these bigger games.
You miss the Slam-a-lama Ding Dong, huh?
I do miss that. Yes,
that was a good commercial.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, we hear him on Monday nights now, but I do think Joe Buck was at his best with baseball.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, how about this?
What?
Josh McDaniels says Garoppolo will start Monday night.
There you go. What about Brock Purdy? We haven't heard anything yet,
huh? The latest we've heard is that it's trending in the direction that he will play. But you did want to get to some NBA stuff.
I did. Well, I was just correlating the quarterbacks there. But yes, let's get to NBA real quick. Warriors lose first game of the season. No big deal. Don't have Draymond. Last night, I watched the game more intently against the Kings and Steph Curry. Wow. I mean, he's still amazing, not slowing down, getting older. In his last two games against the Kings, he scored 91 points. Now, that's a long time ago from game 7, but scored 41 last night. I like the way that Chris Paul was kind of running the second unit a little bit, even though he's still in the starting lineup because of Draymond. Yeah, Warriors look great offensively. I think that they're going to put up a lot of points this year, and they always do. It's just the defense that I'm a little concerned about because the Kings, while they are a good offensive team too, they're not great defensively either, and they just scored pretty much on every possession. It was just going kind of back and forth. 122, 114. I think the defense will tighten up a little bit with Draymond, but I like what I saw last night with the Warriors.
It's amazing that they're still like the same, even if they're just a totally different team now, that like they're still that third quarter juggernaut that you don't want to mess with. Like, I don't know how that carries over from season to season, but I'm feeling a lot more confident in this team than I did last year, simply because of the second unit. They are a little small. They are a little small for my liking, and Draymond just says, "Oh, it's something we can work through." The size is going to come back to get you. Like, I'm really interested to see how they handle Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs whenever they play San Antonio next. Wembanyama is just amazing. I actually think he's as good as advertised. He's lived up to the hype so far, and it's only been 2 games. I think he's an unbelievable player. But back to the Warriors. It's just the stability of the second unit for me. Like, if Steph Curry plays at this type of level where he's scoring, 41 points, only missing, 5 or 6 shots, whatever it is, and he's just running around like a crazy person off the ball while Chris Paul is able to set up the offense, feeling real good about it right now. It's just they need the only real concern I have is with a specific player, but I'll let you continue if you have any other thoughts.
No, go ahead. What is your concerns with that specific player?
I haven't seen it for all 4 quarters yet, but Andrew Wiggins.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying this is who he is yet. I'm not ready to make this proclamation, but my fear is with how important he's meant to be to this team moving forward. My fear is that the 2022 postseason may have been like the best of Andrew Wiggins that we've seen. Like, that's my fear. I don't want that to happen because we want them to play like that every night, where this dude's just getting offensive rebounds, not hesitant to get to the cup. But right now you're seeing him kind of, when he gets the ball in his hands, he's a little indecisive. And then sometimes he just settles with like a floater, which I don't enjoy seeing. It's a pretty low percentage shot, even though he's done it a lot of his time here with the Warriors. But I want to see him get to the rim, try and draw some fouls. And last night, just not much improvement there.
Yeah, I would say that so far, Andrew Wiggins in his 2 games this season, kind of a C+ effort. But it's early. I'm not really to make any sweeping judgments on him yet. I think that's the biggest criticism of him since he's been a Warrior, is that he's not really aggressive and not the scorer. But then again, he never was that with the Timberwolves. So he's going to be Harrison Barnes on this team. And he'll show up when it's needed, like he did in that postseason. But I'm not ready to say anything yet. I like what Andrew Wiggins did 2 years ago. But I hear you, Steven. Not really a great effort so far this season.
It's just my fear. It's just my fear. It's just the fear that he's not going to be the same as he was that postseason. And that's like the type of Andrew Wiggins you want to see for 82 games, even for the midseason tournament.
Yeah, I'm not ready for that yet. Jesus. I would say that I think he can do that. I think he's just, it takes a lot out of him to, for whatever reason, get up for games. He's kind of got a lackadaisical attitude a little bit. Not that he doesn't care. I'm not going to give that vibe off, but I don't know. Just he doesn't take games over. I think it's kind of hard when you have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson a little bit. So I'm not worried about that yet. I did like what I see. I did like what I saw from Jonathan Kuminga in the first 2 games. But it's very early. Very early. Let's see what happens when Draymond comes into the lineup, how Chris Paul adjust to the team as a true bench player. I like what I've seen from Saric too. But yeah, very early on the Warriors. I will say this. very nice to see them win a road game right out the gate. Because last year it took 14 games to do it. So glad they accomplished that.
Exactly.
Took the beam out of the place last night.
That's why I'm feeling a lot more confident right now than I am even 2 games in, because I remember last year, like, it felt like this team didn't really have their identity, and right now it does. It seems like they understand what they want to do with their rotations and stuff. Shout out to Kyle Shanahan. Like, a big adjustment I think that Steve Kerr made was not giving Corey Joseph minutes. He was heavily in the I know plus minus is a kind of ancillary stat for some, but sometimes when the numbers, like, I take plus minus into account when the number's a big number. Like, if the Warriors are even close in that game, which they kind of were against the Suns, not really, but kind of, Corey Joseph was in the double digits in the minus. Like, that's not what you want. So, yeah, they didn't play him in yesterday's game. And I think Moses Moody has just taken that third-year leap that everyone wanted. Same with Kuminga, as you mentioned. I do feel confident. I really do.
No, I think there'll be a better team. Yeah, like I was saying, I think that we just got to see how it goes. What do they play tomorrow against the Rockets?
Yeah.
God, I hate when the Warriors play on Sundays during the NFL. Just
don't you love how Clay is getting his contract and all this stuff where he's playing for a new contract and he just doesn't seem to care one little bit?
The weird thing is, he says he doesn't care. So his agent, I think, is handling all this. But I don't also like hearing that they're so far apart on the numbers and whatnot. Because if Clay just wants the ball, then just tell your agent that. And then you don't have to do this max contract thing. Or not even a max contract. I think he wants the same kind of contract that Draymond's getting.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got to prove it too. So Clay knows that. And I like what he said yesterday when he was interviewed in Shoot Around, saying, like, if this is it, like, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of this. So
yeah,
whatever happens, happens. I will say this. Using Bob Myers a lot on ESPN already. Saw him on PTI, saw him on First Take. He's doing the halftime show. It's interesting that they're using him as a straight-up analyst, not knowing, they don't want to get, like, they're not using him in the Bobby Marks role of, like, contracts. I'm sure that will come into play once they get to free agency and the trade deadline. But it's interesting to see them using Bob Myers for his intellect on the actual game of basketball. Have you watched him yet?
I have, but I haven't watched a ton. The one I've primarily watched him on was talking about James Harden and what's going on with the 76ers, because
no fly zone here.
Like when he does phone interviews,
Bob, yeah.
When he gets going, sometimes he'll kind of get sidetracked and then just like turn to like another point that he's trying to make, without finishing the original point. He's kind of doing that with Harden. And no one really picked this up. And I think, I don't know how many people were watching an NBA Countdown, a couple of hours before tip off, because I just put it on, just kind of fall asleep.
Yeah.
But I did hear Bob Myers talking about Harden, and he was basically trying to say that with Joel Embiid, it's whatever he wants. If he wants Harden back, you do whatever you can to get Harden back. And without really taking too much of a shot, I think that after the Draymond punch on Jordan Poole, we can thank Steph for Draymond still being on the team, because he used Draymond as an example, but kind of tried to walk it back.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. And then he's like, Draymond, like, you have guys like that well, I'm not saying that this is the same thing, but you have guys like that who maybe you're getting off the team, but you kind of want to get to see what your stars are thinking, and it's so.
Was Stephen A part of that?
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Oh, come on now, Bob. We all know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We all know you're referring to Draymond.
Yeah.
Punching Jordan Poole.
Yeah. Yeah. He kind of basically said, yeah, well, the reason Draymond's there is because Steph wanted him back. Because I think after that punch, that's when that really did cross the line. And I think the one guy who kind of put them back over the line is Steph.
I just want to see Bob do whatever with Andre and see that dynamic.
Yeah.
Because Andre's going to get more run on ESPN too, which I am surprised that he wanted to do that.
Right. Strikes me as a guy that wanted to just do some, get involved in tech business as a venture capitalist and then just play some golf, not really focus on the game anymore.
Exactly, because he never wanted to do interviews as it pertains to basketball. One of my favorite interviews I remember was at Warriors Media Day, and he came on with Steiny and Guru and literally just talked golf the whole time, and blew off Raymond Ritter and every PR person that came to go get him. He's like, no, I'm talking golf here. Leave me alone.
Right.
I'm surprised he wants to do it. And also, I didn't bring this up with you, but him announcing his retirement right before the season, I was like, didn't we already know Andre was retired for most of the offseason here?
It was just more kept in the dark. Like we
Yeah,
knew,
but it was
wasn't
kind of like
official.
well known to everybody.
Yeah, I think it was more. It's one of those things like when someone. I mean, this is kind of morbid, but when someone dies, like a very old person passes away, and you're like, "Huh? I thought they were already dead."
That's an accurate analogy.
What I'm saying? It's kind of there's the comparison there because that's happened,
Yeah.
where someone very, very old passed away, and then and you're like,
Give me an
"Wow."
example, Stephen.
All right, Sir Bobby Charlton from England, the old England captain from the 1966 team that won the World Cup. Yeah, I thought he wasn't with us. I thought he was no longer with us, but he passed away last week. I was kind of surprised.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
For me, it's like Bob Barker. Didn't he just pass away?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was.
Yeah, like the way to approach it is saying, "Oh, I thought he was no longer with us."
Exactly.
That's not an insult. It's just
no. One of my favorite games that they play on Chris Long's podcast is Dead or Alive. You just go through people.
It's a good game.
Yeah.
Keeps you in the loop.
All right. Should we switch over to football now? Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, Purdy. We will see what happens. I think we'll know more maybe today, later on, possibly early tomorrow. But the latest is that he did practice on Thursday and Friday, kind of a light practice, limited, as they say in the old practice participation. And a lot of talk about what he needs to do to pass the protocol. Nobody that suffered a concussion this year in the NFL has been cleared by Sunday. And maybe it's been also that a lot of teams are trying to prevent what happened a year ago with Tua. Maybe some have passed concussion protocol, and the teams have just let them sit for a week just to be safe. So what Kyle Shanahan told Tolbert this week was basically, if he's cleared, he's playing. If he's not playing. It's as simple as that. And I think it's a good sign with him practicing the last 2 days. So we shall see. But I think the last thing, I think that Sam Darnold will be fine. I think he's past the point of seeing ghosts now. But I think that after losing 2 in a row, the last thing the Niners need is their quarterback not out there.
Agreed. Although I am cautious because, the no NFL player has come back the same week thing. Like, I hear that. And it's not been that long since someone has. Like, that was Kenny Pickett. But what people failed to mention with Kenny Pickett was that he also sustained a concussion a couple of weeks later.
Yeah.
And was just straight back in concussion protocol. So even though Purdy's coming back, it's good news for the Niners. Like, I don't think they want to go out there with Sam Darnold right now. You're right. You don't want to go out there with your backup. But if Kenny Pickett went on the concussion protocol last year, came back that same week, I mean, it's just now this is where the offensive line really has to protect Purdy, because now that you've had something happen, it can be re-aggravated pretty easily.
No, definitely. I was just double checking here. I saw Ernie 2 on the chat here saying if he actually cleared concussion protocol. Not yet, Ernie 2. Don't jump the gun yet. It's not official yet.
It's gonna happen.
We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I think it's gonna happen.
Nothing's definite.
I think Shanahan wanted Darnold. You think secretly he wanted to see what he had with Darnold just in a regular game?
Tom asked him that, if Darnold has to go, are you excited to see that? He goes, yeah, of course. There's a reason they picked him up.
Right.
I don't think that he wanted Darnold just because Purdy's not playing well.
Right.
But I think he wants to know what he has. He's always been intrigued by Sam Darnold. So
exactly.
I would say that if Purdy can't go, then I think that he feel fine with Sam Darnold. I don't think there'll be any limitations in the offense. Obviously, it may be a different deal because he's a different quarterback, but I think he would run the same type of scheme.
What is the update on Trent Williams? Because that's just as important.
Questionable.
All right. So that's good.
Yeah, and Debo officially out. So
yeah,
we shall see.
Rocking new era. 32. If Purdy was cleared from confusion protocol.
What? Oh, okay.
I don't know. He meant to say concussion, but I like confusion protocol. If we're ever confused by something, I'm into confusion protocol. I need a few days, maybe clear some stages here in the confusion protocol timeline. Then I'll get back to you. Confusion protocol. I like it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can tell you loved it. By the look on your face, you just seem so interested. You should enter confusion protocol based on what I just said.
Yeah, I love that confusion protocol. Some people are confused about why Davante Adams is still on the Raiders. Nice segue, Derek. I don't know if you saw the interview with Rich Eisen and Steven. I don't want to play any clips because you guys can go look it up yourself. But basically in the interview, he says that he's happy to be a Raider. He made this decision himself. He's not looking to get traded. Said all the right things. He's just frustrated with the team right now. And asked him about Derek Carr, and he said, obviously, he says that, and then like last week he says, like, I didn't come here just to play with Derek. I didn't do that whole thing. But then in the interview, Rich Eisen asks him about his relationship with Derek Carr and how that all went, and he was like, obviously, the reason I came here was to play with Derek. I don't think I would be a Raider if Derek Carr wasn't the quarterback.
Right.
But there's also a lot of factors of why I wanted to come here. He admitted that he didn't want to wait on Aaron Rodgers anymore. He wanted to take care of his sick grandmother who couldn't come to his games in Lambeau, so now it's an easier flight for her to come from California to Las Vegas. And he was just honest, and I actually don't really take it as any bullshit. I think that he really is wanting to be a Raider, and he made this commitment. I don't think he's trying to be a diva. I think it's just he's frustrated. He has expectations for himself and for this team, and they're not coinciding right now because last week was pitiful. For most of the season, the offense has been not amazing. They're in the lower tier of offenses when it comes to points scored. I get it. And I don't think they are going to trade him come Tuesday because the logistics of it would be a nightmare. They play on Monday, and I don't think it would be in the best interest for them. I mean, they're trying to win games, but also simultaneously evaluate the roster. I think Hunter Renfrow is more likely to get traded at this point. And it's just a bad look from where they were 2 years ago to making this addition to now being like, just get rid of him.
I think that something could happen the off season, but I don't think a trade is happening now.
Yeah, I think if Aaron Rodgers is playing right now with the Jets and they're struggling a little bit offensively, then maybe something could have happened where he demanded something. But I don't know. And I don't know how quick they change this. But I don't think Davante Adams is in the same tier as Randy Moss and Antonio Brown in the sense that he just wants to get the fuck out of here. I think it's that he's just frustrated. And maybe he says he has no regrets of making his decision to go join the Raiders. I don't think he does because he got paid a shit ton of money. But it's just not equating to wins, and it's kind of putting a little lull on his career right now. But who's to say the Raiders don't make a huge move in the offseason to now he's rejuvenated? But who knows? I don't know.
His quality of life is much better because he's close to family. He's close to home. A lot of things that he wasn't getting over there in Green Bay. But he's not going to win with the Raiders. That's the only problem. Like, I don't want to compare him at all to any of those guys from the past because he seems to, at least at this point in time, have his head on straight. At that time, remember how people were viewing Randy Moss after his time with the Vikings? I know how we look at him now as an analyst, but back then he was up there in the echelon of diva wide receivers, guys who weren't getting their way. Adams has never come across that way.
No.
And he's never come across as someone who might have a screw loose later on in life, like Antonio Brown right now. It's like the complete opposite with Antonio Brown. He started out as if he was like, this humble dude who's just there to win. And then like after, I don't want to say that hit on Vontaze Burfict or from Vontaze Burfict changed everything, but you look at everything after that moment, it's just like, that's when everything kind of went downhill from there. And I don't even like, there's this latest video I saw of Antonio Brown golfing. It's ridiculous. I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't know if he's trying to be funny. Like, it's weird. He golfed with one hand and he tried to swing with one hand and he just completely misses the ball. And it's not funny. It's just sad to watch now. Yeah, Adams doesn't strike me as that type of dude, but I feel for him. I feel for him because the way that Raider fans are feeling right now, which is just a ton of fire Josh McDaniels, this offense, blah, 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 this offense, like they're feeling the same way. And I feel for him and I feel for Max Crosby. I feel for Josh Jacobs. I feel for all of those stars who grew up with this team and now have seen it for what it's become.
So with them at 3-4 right now,
Mm-hmm.
should they be looking? I mean, like they're technically not that far away from being 500, but the way that it's looked this season, we know good football when we see it, and the Raiders I think have lucked into a few wins. So I don't know. I don't know what their whole process is this season, but should they be looking maybe to trade away some pieces at this deadline? I wouldn't. Maybe just Hunter Renfrow because there is no role for him on this team. I would keep Devontae. I would keep Max Crosby. See what you get, but I don't know if we're just playing to go 7-10 or 8-9. I don't know what this is all worth.
You know what I want to see? I want to see a J.C. Jackson type of move with the Patriots. I want to see the Raiders try and trade for Denzel Perryman and bring him back because he was a healthy scratch wherever he was. If he's not playing somewhere, like bring him back. He could do something to contribute to this team. I don't know. Like, I think the Raiders, they might sell Hunter Renfrow. I think they'll trade Renfrow because they just have no use for him in this offense. But if they have a 3-4 record, like you start selling away their pieces right away, that's just saying goodbye to the season and just kind of waving the white flag if you're a seller. I mean, I don't know. Monday night, you could pick up a surprise win over the Lions and somehow pull off an upset. Then you're 4-4. And if you traded away some of those pieces, then you look like an idiot. So I don't think they're willing to risk that. But I do think that Renfrow is trending in that direction because they have now with Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker. I don't know if they have any much use for him on this roster anymore, which sucks.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know what his stats are this season, but he's gotten minimal catches. And I think that this has been a talking point for a long time now. I think Hunter Renfrow has even told the Vegas media, I just want to go to a place where I'm utilized. So, I mean, makes sense for him to go back to team up with Derek Carr again, maybe in New Orleans. I'm trying to think of a spot that makes sense for him. But yeah, I would see that as a possibility come Tuesday. That Hunter Renfrow.
I think they should. What's going on with Chris Olave right now? He just got arrested for reckless driving, right?
Yep.
I mean, I don't know if that's going to impact any of his playing, but I mean, there's something's got to give there. Hunter Renfrow will help whatever team, and if they need help in the red zone, get Renfrow in there because that's where he's truly special. He could just break dudes' ankles within 5 yards.
By the way, I'm never a fan of watching body cam footage, but when Chris Olave is arrested and he mentions to the cop, "I play for the Saints," and the cop goes, "And?"
Yeah,
I just couldn't help but laugh. Like that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, come on, man. If you're bringing up your athlete status, it's okay. You deserve to be made fun of in that situation. I know we're not supposed to make jokes about something like that where he's driving recklessly, but I mean, as far as I've read, he didn't hurt anybody, right?
No, not that I've read. No.
Well, then there you go. We can all laugh at this one. Yeah, you bring up the fact that you're a football player and you play for the Saints, and the cop goes, yeah, good on the cop."
All right. Speaking of trades, let's bring up some that. Did you come up with any, or do you want me to just do this, Steven?
No, you got some that you want to see.
I want to see some trades.
You put that in the little rundown that you send me before each show, what you want to talk about, and pick trades that I want to see.
Well, are there any trades that you want to see?
I have one that I'd want to see for the 49ers.
Sure.
I think that getting one of those edge rushers from the Commanders is imperative for them. Like, I think they need someone on the opposite end. Randy Gregory he's good. Actually, I think Randy Gregory's been pretty good since he's been with the Niners so far. Whenever he's had time to play, but on the opposite end, like Drake Jackson, Cleve Ferrell, and him, those guys aren't exactly starters. But if you can I don't know which one. If you could trade for Chase Young, who was a former teammate with Bosa, right? Or was Bosa gone before his time? So he was a former teammate with Bosa.
Yeah.
But Young, also little injury prone.
Yeah.
So you'd be giving up some pretty hefty draft capital for a guy who can potentially get injured. I guess that's true with anyone in the NFL because it's such a physical sport, but non-contact wise, Chase has gotten hurt a lot in his career. Montez Sweat's an absolute dog. But I have a feeling the Commanders would want to keep him because that's the type of player you want to build around.
Yeah, if I had to guess between the two, I would say they're going to keep Montez Sweat and trade Chase Young just because of his injuries in the past. We actually asked this question to Dante Whitner yesterday on Tolbert and Copes, and he flat out said, I don't want
Chase
either.
Young sucks.
Yes. He said that he doesn't like either of them because they don't fit the scheme of the Niners. He's used both those guys more as 3-4 pass rushers. Even though they've played in 4-3 schemes in Washington, and he thinks that they have been utilized not the right way. So Dante brought up he wants Patrick Surtain, and I was like, that's kind of I don't know. To me, you could say he's available, but I don't think the Niners are trading away first-round picks to get a guy like that. Plus, you're going to have to pay him. You're not just going to have him as a one-year rental. These two guys, Montez Sweat and Chase Young, you would have to make the move to trade for them, and then pretty much let it be known that you're not signing them to long-term deals because the way that it's set up now with Bosa, he's making the most money as a defensive player in football. You want to keep George Kittle. You want to keep Deebo Samuel. All things you got to decide in the offseason, but whatever move they make, it would have to be just this is for the here and now, and we're not going to sign anybody long-term.
Yeah, when John Lynch talks about how they're sorting out these contracts and they're thinking 3 or 4 years down the line when they do this. It's not just a 1-year thing. And anyone they're going to trade, I mean, what they've done suggests they really like their homegrown players. So I'd think that they're thinking about Ayuk and Purdy in the long term. They're not thinking about whoever they're going to trade for in the long term. They're thinking about who they're going to trade for. Can they help them win this year? And what kind of role can they serve? Do they need someone in the nickel spot? I know that Isaiah Oliver's made some key plays, but at the same time, they've gotten beat. On the opposite end, Diamador Lenore's been decent, but he's also gotten beat too. Although if they get Pat Surtain, that'd be a hell of a move. That'd be a hell of a move.
It would be, but I don't see that's likely happening because the Broncos, I could see them selling off Jerry Jeudy, maybe Cortland Sutton, Justin Simmons, but you don't want to trade away a guy like that. I think that whatever pieces you want to hang on to build up your roster, he's young. He just got there in 2021. I wouldn't trade away Patrick Surtain Jr. That seems like a bad move for the Broncos, in my opinion. All right, I got 3 trades that I want to see come Tuesday.
Here we go.
All right. And one of them involves Chase Young. And I don't think the Niners are going to get him. I think that the best spot for Chase Young is to go to the Detroit Lions and the Lions to get him for a second-round pick. He's got a good amount of sacks already, 5.5 this season. I think that's what he's got so far. And I think they need somebody opposite Aiden Hutchinson. I think they've gotten so many injuries on defense from C.J. Gardner-Johnson, now called C.D. Deuce, changed his name. So I think having someone opposite Aiden Hutchinson would really help the Lions, and they can afford him with what he's got so far on his rookie deal. They're not paying a shit ton of money to Jared Goff. They can make that work. I think it'd be difficult with the Niners and everything to get him. Maybe it could be done. I would say probably in the pecking order, I would go Lions 1, Niners 2, and the chances to get Chase Young. But right now, I'd say Chase Young going to the Lions would be something that I would like to see come to. Yeah,
that'd be wild seeing those two on the same end or on the same line.
Michigan versus Ohio State there.
Mm-hmm.
Without the sign stealing. Derrick Henry, I think he's going to get traded come Tuesday. There's speculation of him going to the Ravens, apparently. That's like the team, I guess, that's been the biggest rumor so far as having interest with him. Everyone talks about the Buffalo Bills with Derrick Henry. It would be a very good situation if he went there, but I don't think the Bills are looking to get a better running back. I think they're fine with James Cook, and they'll run with Latavius Murray from time to time. That should be an upgrade going from Latavius to Derrick Henry, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think the team that's going to get Derrick Henry is the Dallas Cowboys, because right now they're just running with Tony Pollard. He's not that type of bruising running back. They have problems in the red zone. I think that They could get Derrick Henry for a 3rd-round pick, and that helps their red zone offense immensely.
Wow. You just broke that down. Look at you paying attention to Cowboys red zone numbers.
Yeah, I am. So what?
All right. What's you got for number 3?
Last one. And this one's kind of nuts, but I think it should be done. Buffalo Bills. If you watch the Thursday night game, they did fine offensively. They could have put up some more points, but defensively they're struggling. Multiple times on 4th down, they had penalties to keep the Bucs in that game on that 4th quarter drive that cut the lead to 6. And if Chris Godwin looks up a little bit and sees the ball, they're winning that game and scoring on that Hail Mary.
Yeah.
And Von Miller having a hard time getting into the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing him get blocked. He's just not the same player coming off the ACL. They have good pass rushers, though. I'm not really concerned in that department. What I am concerned with the Bills is they need to get a little faster on offense, but I'm not really concerned with that. I think they just need to get a groove going a little bit. Josh Allen's hurt. I would say losing Tre'Davious White and Matt Milano has really decimated their defense. And I don't know if they could win a Super Bowl without those guys. And I don't know what their time frame is, if they want to go all in this season. But what I would do, if I was the Buffalo Bills, I would call up the Indianapolis Colts if they lose their game to who the Colts playing this weekend.
Who are they playing?
Are they on a bye? I don't think
No,
any
they're
teams do have
playing.
buys. The Colts are playing the. Do I have it listed here?
Saints.
The Saints. So if they lose that game to the Saints, they're 3-5. You're playing with a backup quarterback and Gardner Minshew for the rest of the season. What are your, do you want to plan for the future with Anthony Richardson? You're trying to win this season. AFC South seems like it's going to be in the Jaguars' hands. Chris Ballard, not really that aggressive in making moves like that, but if I were the Buffalo Bills, I would call the Indianapolis Colts and ask them, what could we get for both Kenny Moore and Shaq Leonard? And I know that sounds like a lot. Kenny Moore is going to be a free agent this offseason. Shaq Leonard used to be Darius Leonard, getting up there in age. He's coming off injuries. I think he's signed for a couple more seasons, but they can get out of his contract after next season easily. If I were the Buffalo Bills, I would offer to the Indianapolis Colts a 1st-round pick next season and a 2nd-round pick the season after that for both Kenny Moore and Shaq Leonard.
Damn.
How do you like that?
Brandon Beane might be out of a job.
That would be an aggressive move, but I think I don't the way that it's looking, I'm not really that impressed with the Bills.
Yeah. No,
and they got to find replacements for those injuries. Those are 2 huge injuries.
They have not done something to put them over the top. Right now, it looks like the Bills are scanning the cornerback market. The Commanders are listening to offers on Chase Young and Montez Sweat. The Titans, unless they get an exceptional offer, will not be trading Derrick Henry. And the Cowboys have never called about acquiring Henry. And Pat Surtain is not going to be traded by the Broncos. All of that from Diana Rossini just now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah. So there you go.
So she says that the Cowboys have never inquired about Derrick Henry.
I don't know if we're allowed to do this, but I'm doing it. Yeah, just go to the thing. 10 things she was told. Where was that one? Yes,
Broncos are not
6.
open to trading Patrick Surtain.
That's number 1.
Hold on, go on. Okay, let me go through this. Eagles want to make another move. Oh wow, okay.
Linebacker for them. They should look at Denzel Perriman. I'm telling you, that guy can help any team.
I would even say a 3rd wide receiver. I know they got Julio Jones, but they need a little help offensively. All right, 3. The Baltimore Ravens looking at a running back, so that might be the spot for Derrick Henry.
Maybe, but again, they've said that look to be staying in Tennessee. Ron Carthon,
DeAndre Hopkins and Derrick Henry look to be staying in Tennessee. Teams have called GM their brother. I was told Carthon is moving on officials' exception. Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if it makes sense to keep Derrick Henry, but we'll see.
Well, anyway, they want something. They want something extravagant. I mean, it didn't say they're not trading him. Like they didn't give it a no. Like the Broncos not trading Pat Surtain, or anything like that. I think they're open to it. It's just the offer would have to be a king's ransom, which is very appropriate for King Henry. And looks like, according to Doug Kleiman, according to Matt Mayoko, Brock Purdy has cleared the protocol.
Yes. Yes. Mike Garafolo just saw it. Pass concussion protocol ahead of games tomorrow. He's good to go. So there you go. Brock Purdy going to play tomorrow for the 49ers.
What were those concussion symptoms really? Was he having concussion symptoms, or was he just feeling dizzy on the flight? Because sometimes flights have you feeling like that.
I don't doubt that he got busted in the head on that QB sneak.
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
Maybe that's just you on planes, Steven.
It is, man. It's me. Sometimes I'll be sitting there like, damn, I don't feel right.
No more confusion protocol. There you go, Ernie too.
That's where the Raiders are in right now. The Raiders as a team are in confusion protocol because they're confused as to what they want to do.
Exactly. I feel the same way. And I will admit this. I'm a different person when it comes to all this off-season NFL bullshit talk. Because I noticed last night, I was like, oh, trade deadline is coming up. I should probably look into what's going on. So I'm like, me during the season, I could care less to watch Rich Eisen or Pat McAfee or any of those shows. I'm just focused on the games. I don't want to hear any of the other hoopla and bullshit. But then in the offseason, you best believe I was watching everything I could find about Aaron Rodgers and Dalvin Cook and DeAndre Hopkins and all that dumb stuff. And I hate when it's mixed together at the trade deadline. So I cannot wait for this to pass because I hate looking up rumors. I rather just watch the games. I hate myself when I do this.
You literally created 3 rumors.
I know, but
why?
Because I'm interested to see what happens.
So then you're interested. It's okay to be interested. You don't have to, it's fine.
But it goes against everything that I believe in, Steven.
You just made 3 trades. You just created a blockbuster trade for the Buffalo Bills so they can win the Super Bowl this year.
It would be a fantastic trade.
I
do love trades. I do love trades. But here's the thing. Last year, we got a shit ton of trades at the deadline. I think Bradley Chubb went, T.J. Hawkinson, Robert Quinn, but that never equated really to anything for the Eagles. Every year, we hear a lot of hoopla and hype when it comes to the trade deadline for the NFL, and then sometimes it's just a big, like nothing happens. So I would say be prepared for anything come Tuesday. It could be a ton of moves or it could be nothing.
Yeah, I always say to the people who said this was a boring trade deadline, no, your expectations were just a little too high. Wasn't a boring trade deadline. Most trade deadlines are boring. It's just you set your expectations to this level where all these guys are going to get traded, superstars going this, superstars going there. It's like, nah, sometimes it's just nothing happens. Also in that Rossini report, it's no surprise. The 49ers looking for a cornerback or an edge rusher. And I wouldn't be shocked. Like, we're always paying attention to these names. Like, Pat Surtain's the big one we want. I don't know what the Jags are planning. I don't see them doing this, but I remember Josh Allen's name being floated around trade rumors early in the season. But because he's in a contract year, but they might find it worth it to pay him because he's a damn good edge rusher, and Trayvon Walker has not lived up to the number 1 overall pick billing.
Well, what I could see happening, just to give you another trade speculation here, because I'm always good for that.
And it's because you love it.
I do, for whatever reason. They're going to keep Josh Allen, and they could sign him because Trevor Lawrence is on his rookie deal still. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. They got nothing for Trayvon Walker so far. That's if the Vikings lose and they go to 3-5, Danielle Hunter's name's out there, and the team that I've heard the most of being linked to him is the Jaguars. So if they got Danielle Hunter opposite Josh Allen, I think that'd be a huge move.
Danielle Hunter, that'd be massive.
And he's leading the league in sacks right now, and I would say anything less than a first-round pick is off the table.
Look at you. Creating all these trade rumors.
I hate it.
So actually, I wonder, like, thinking of like a, Denzel Perriman, former Raider, Yannick Ngakoue. Wonder if that's interesting to the 49ers there. Just trading for that guy. And he's on the Bears right now. He's only on a 1-year deal.
That's actually not a bad idea. But I think once you say it's kind of in the same vein as a Randy Gregory, where he's kind of up there in age a little bit. And
and I'd say that any of the, how should I put this? I guess for lack of a better term, any of the narratives surrounding those players. Yannick Ngakoue has always been kind of a crazy guy.
Has he?
Yeah, going back to his time with Baltimore, always had kind of an attitude. And Randy Gregory, well, he just got busted for pot. Like the dude just couldn't stop smoking pot. So I don't really judge him for that. Like we've all done it, but like, you know what I mean? Like, but yeah, that's just might be another case where they're just trying to revive a career. And I don't know if that's what they want. Like, do they want another edge rusher where it's like a guy searching for a career revival, or do they want someone who's established, is kind of not in their prime, but maybe still on the last legs of their prime, still has something going for this season? Because Yannick Ngakoue, it feels like his prime is past. Or what do you mean, Steven? I mean, because like Randy Gregory just got busted for smoking pot a bunch of times, and we all thought that he was like a bad person because of it. Or like the narrative around him was like he's unstable and, you know, can't handle a locker room or something like that. And it's like, nah, not at all.
No.
Pot.
That was the perception 10 years ago, where guys like him and Josh Gordon kept getting busted for the wrong things. Yeah, no, I don't think that's that big of a deal. I think he's fine with the Niners, but yeah, they need somebody like a starter, because it sounds like Drake Jackson has not been well received so far with the 49ers brass. They're not getting what they thought they were going to get, besides the 3 sacks in the first week of the season. Drake Jackson has not lived up to expectations, so may look to upgrade there in the same vein that Javon Kinlaw has not lived up to expectations. So we shall see. Should we pick some of these games?
Javon Hargrave was kind of great at the beginning of the year, but he's also fallen off a little bit too. Haven't seen much from him. Not much from Eric Armstead either.
I would say the whole defensive line. They're just not getting the quarterback consistently enough. Kyle made it abundantly clear that he was not happy with the opportunities they had in the Viking game that they did not seize when it came to pass rush.
That's what I wanted to bring up to you, actually, that you jogged my memory. It kind of bothered me the way that Shanahan handled that whole thing with Wilkes.
Kind of throw him under the bus.
Maybe this is me being soft. All right, I'll tell you, if you're calling me soft for this, totally fine. Like, all right, cool. But when he called out Wilkes, he was asked about it. Like he straight asked directly, like, "Hey, what were those conversations like that you had with him?" And he knows he messed up. Yeah, he knows he messed up, and yeah, he'll tell you. He'll tell you how much he messed up, and then he just keeps going about the play call, and you're just like, I'm fine with all-out blitzes, just not with 16 seconds to go. And let me double down on why I don't like blitzes with 16 seconds to go, and give you this statement as to why I messed it up for our team. And then like, he didn't even acknowledge that, well, there's other contributing factors to their loss, and maybe he answered that in the press conference. But I don't know. It's just, if you're going to talk about Wilkes and you're going to be asked a question, like, I think you should acknowledge that it wasn't entirely his fault, because it kind of seemed like through this one answer, through the past couple of weeks, that he's blaming it on Steve Wilkes in that one call.
I would say also that he did, in the interview with Tom, say it's not his fault entirely. I'm also the head coach. I knew the call. I could have called timeout, and I didn't do so. So ultimately, it falls on my shoulders, but he did not like the call.
Well, that's great that he said that with Tom, but to people that don't listen to KMVR, how about you say it in front of like the media where you're doing press conferences, instead of doing it through a radio show that people listen to, but not everyone listens to?
No, I mean, I understand that. I also think that Kyle kind of realized that maybe his criticism was a little harsh, but also Steve Wilkes is a big boy. I think he can handle it. I think he knows at this point that it was the wrong call. And also, I'll say this again, it's a moot point if Travarius Ward comes up with the pick.
Right.
So I will say that Kyle, he will point the finger. He will tell you, he will tell the media, and he'll be blunt and he'll be honest that this guy fucked up.
Right.
And he has expectations for where the defense is supposed to be. He's had D'Amico Ryans. He's had Robert Saleh. And maybe he's still filling things out with Steve Wilkes. And maybe Nick Bosa is still filling things out with him too. I just think that they're going through a learning adjustment right now. And Kyle's like, this is what I expected the defense, and you need to get him to that.
I think there's a disconnect right now. It just feels like that, because like the only time we've seen Kyle Shanahan that direct about anybody on his team, he's normally been the type of guy that would acknowledge something on the back end of his answer. Like a lot of the times we'd pick up like the clip, the minute answer with him giving the direct answer. But then like the second half of the clip we'd cut out, and that's where he would kind of acknowledge, well, there's other things at play too. The only time we've seen him be this direct is when he's talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, and we know how that relationship soured towards that NFC Championship game. So I think I'm not saying is a disconnect, but I'm saying this has the makings of there being a disconnect right now, because I've never heard him talk about like that with one of his coaches.
That is fair, and that's what it looks like right now.
Yeah.
I can't deny that. I also think it's an outsider coming in to this great defense a year ago, and I'm sure Kyle's thinking, but also people got to remember they lost a lot of pieces. Jimmy Ward's gone. Emmanuel Mosley tore his ACL, but he's gone. Azeez Al-Shire's gone. They're trying to adjust too as a defense. Now those guys weren't, the biggest names of the defense, but I think when you bring in someone that wasn't with the defense and the defense was spectacular a season ago, you're like, don't fuck up a good thing. And I think that's what Kyle's saying. But Kyle's never going to be tame in his approach ever.
Yeah, maybe it's just me being soft.
No, I wouldn't say you're soft. You probably are right, Steven. It looks like there may be a disconnect there. But then again, if they go out and kick the Bengals' ass and sack Joe Burrow 5 times, then there is no disconnect anymore.
Yeah, and I'm gonna continue with that Monday night game. Like whenever we talk about it in the future, like if let's just say by the time week 17, week 18 rolls around and the defensive line still hasn't played up to their standard, then I think we'll look back on this Vikings game and be like, it started there and then it's just trickled all the way through the season. I'm always going to look back at this Vikings game and I'm going to give Kirk Cousins credit for how he played against that defensive line, because go back and watch it. Like it's not like they were getting pushed around by the Vikings O-line. I just think they were getting beat by the quarterback. Like the quarterback somehow, like Kirk, I don't know how he made some of those throws that he made. Like there's one, I forgot who was on the crossing route. It wasn't Jordan Addison who made the
Hawkinson.
It was Hawkinson. It's just like, how did he make that throw?
Yeah.
Like, how did he even know to get it out
Kirk's
of there?
good. People got to lay off Kirk.
Yeah.
And I get it. I did not like him checking it down to Hawkinson on a 4th in whatever it was in the playoff game. I thought at least go deep. That's all or nothing right there. It's a playoff game. I know that on the QB show he said, well, that was the open guy. And no. It's a bad play. Bottom line, bad play. It's a playoff game. Put yourself in the position to win the game. Don't check it down to TJ Hawkinson on a 4th and 10. It's just stupid. If I was the Vikings, I would look to bring him back. I know that they're not playing well this season, but you need a veteran to groom whatever quarterback you do bring in. Kirk's a good quarterback. He's better than Derek and some of these other guys, I would say.
Yeah, I think he's... Plus, he doesn't let the outside noise get to him. I think Derek lets the outside noise get to him. I think some of these quarterbacks do. Kirk doesn't seem to. He just dresses up in his Kohl's clothing and goes to set bonfires with Coop.
And only listens to the sweet sounds of Creed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, should we pick some of these games?
Yeah, well, I mean, we already did.
Well, let's do it for the audience and the Ernies and everybody. We're not going to go through every game. I'll give you the list for the podcast audience. But Steven, just give me 3 games that you're confident in, and just 3 games that pique your interest this weekend. Wait, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
As we do a little thing called wins or wangs. Hold for a land. All right, go.
All right, 3 that I'm confident in. Well, 1 I'm oddly confident in. I just think the NFL season is so bizarre. I think week 7...
How bizarre?
I think week 7 was drunk. Week 7 was hammered. Week 7 couldn't see straight. Week 7 called an Uber and got in the Uber and got in the wrong Uber. It was actually a Lyft. Like, that's what week 7 was. You know what I mean? And you wake up from week 7 and you didn't drink any water the night before. You didn't eat anything. You're just hungover because what the hell happened in week 7? I think something similar is going to happen in week 8. That's why I'm confident that Green Bay, who haven't played at Lambeau really much this season, I think they played once at Lambeau, once or twice. I don't think they've played much at home.
Yeah, now that I think about it.
They just had a bye week. They're back at Lambeau. They got the Vikings on a short week. It's a pick'em. I'm very confident that Green Bay wins, and I'm very confident that it's going to be under. So
I'm with you on that one, Steven.
I'm confident in that one.
Yes, you and I are simpatico on that one.
And then I'm confident in the one just above that, the Rams +6, but Dallas winning. I think it's going to be a really close game. I think Dallas has shown that when they play decent teams, that they can be vulnerable at times. I also think Dallas is going to win just because it's in Dallas. But I'm very confident in that pick. And then the other one, I'm fully confident that the Ravens are going to just crush the Cardinals. The Cardinals were this feel-good story, and 10's a huge number. That's a lot of points that you're giving the Cardinals there. But I think Baltimore's going to cover that. So I'm very confident that them laying the 10 with the Ravens, and I'm choosing the under. The Cardinals, they can't seem to score more than 10 points anymore. So very confident in those picks.
I will say that I'm not confident in this one, but I'm just going to pick it because they need to win eventually. I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers to win this week against the Houston Texans. I know the Texans are coming off a bye, but it's rookie on rookie crime here. We got C.J. Stroud versus Bryce Young, and are the Panthers coming off a bye too? I think they are. Yes.
Yes.
So Frank Reich's a good coach that is going through some struggles right now. Brian Burns needs to prove that he shouldn't be traded at the deadline here. I think that the Panthers come out and win this game against the Texans. And I got the over in that game as well. What other picks do I have here? Okay. New England showed some life last week. Dolphins apparently are getting Jalen Ramsey back this weekend. Jalen Ramsey, disputed that report from Adam Schefter, but I wouldn't be surprised if he actually plays. But I'm going to take the Dolphins to win, but I do like the Patriots to cover the 9.5 points. I think it's going to be a closer game. And I think both teams are going to score some points. Mac Jones found in a groove, finally, with Bill O'Brien's offense. And then finally, I'll pick this one. Despite Purdy being cleared, I just don't like where the Niners are right now. I think that they'll make a move come Tuesday, and they'll be in a better position with their defense. But right now, they're struggling to get to the quarterback, to play a little pass defense with their corners. And I think the Bengals coming off a bye does not bode well for the Niners, especially when they're on a short week and their quarterback was limited in practice. So with that being said, I think you and I are similar here. I'm taking the Bengals to win. Niners lose 3 in a row. I like the under here. You like the over, but you're also taking Cincinnati to win.
Yeah, I'm not too confident in the pick because the 49ers have proved me wrong so much. I'm never confident picking against the 49ers, but it just feels like this is the Bengals' time right now. Obviously, as you mentioned, coming off a bye, Joe Burrow just getting more healthy as the season progresses, whereas the 49ers seems like they need a bye right now. They're the team that needs it, and even though they're going to have home cooking at Levi's Stadium, and I know the Niner faithful is going to be going nuts, especially now that Purdy's starting, but I still think Cincinnati wins this one. I think it's actually going to be a really good game. This could be the game of the week.
I think it might be. So here we go. Just to go through everything, Atlanta versus Tennessee. Atlanta's favored by 2.5, over under 35. You and I are both taking the Falcons to win, and both are going to say the under is going to hit. Even though the Titans are wearing the old Oilers uniforms this weekend, which will be sweet, but don't have a lot of faith in Will Levis starting for the Titans. I'm taking the Panthers. I got the over. You're taking the Houston Texans to win, and you're laying the points with them and going over on 43.5 with the Texans favored by 3.5.
Yeah. For some reason, I'm going over. I forgot why in my head that I had that, but I was looking it up. But yeah, over.
No, Texans are scoring points with C.J. Stroud. I get it.
Yeah.
Jags at the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is probably the best game, one of the best games of the weekend, actually. Jags are favored by 2. Over-unders at 40.5. You're taking the Jags to win, laying the points, having the under. I think the Steelers are going to win this game. I think just being at Pittsburgh will help them. And even though the Jags have a kind of a mini bye since their last game on Thursday night, I think that they get this one. Steelers, that is. You like the Rams to cover against the Dallas Cowboys, but the Cowboys to win. You're laying the over. Cowboys favored by 6, over under 45.5. I like the Cowboys just a straight up win coming off the bye. And I like them to lay the 6, and I like the over in that game. Both of us are taking the Packers to win. We discussed the New England and Miami game. You like Miami to win, lay the points, but you like the under in that game. Interesting, Steven. Tell why.
Because I just think they're going to have like a weird 30 5 to like, I don't know, 13 game or something like that. Except that would be the over, but a little lower than that. You know,
Fair
I don't really
enough.
have a reason for it.
All right, then we got the
Going against
Saints.
the grain.
Going against the grain. You got the Saints at the Colts. Saints favored by 2. Over under 43.5. You and I are both taking the Saints coming off their Thursday night game. Got to kind of pick things up after they had a kind of a, well, they came back in that game, but lost to the Jags. So we're both taking the Saints, laying the 2, and we like the under to hit on the 43.5. Battle of New York, the Jets versus the Giants. Daniel Jones is out once again. Zach Wilson still going. Not sure if we're going to see Aaron Rodgers this season. Most likely not. I think people are just expecting that because he's walking around, but he's got to move a little bit. Anyway, Jets favored by 3. Both of us like that. We both like the Jets to win coming off the bye, and we damn sure like the under with both of these anemic offenses.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got the Philadelphia Eagles going up against the Washington Commanders. Kevin Byard will debut as he was traded earlier this week. Eagles are favored by 7, 43.5. Jonathan Allen let it be known that he's fucking sick of all this fucking shit in his tirade that he had post-game against the Giants. We're both taking the Eagles to win, but we both like the Washington Commanders to cover, and we both like the over.
Mm-hmm.
Another great uniform game. The Cleveland Browns with P.J. Walker starting once again for Deshaun Watson, going to Seattle. The Seattle Seahawks are wearing one of my favorite uniforms. Makes me think of the early Raider days where Sean Alexander will run all over them. They're wearing the old school AFC West blue uniforms, which are sweet. They should break them out a lot more. And for that reason alone, we're both taking the Seahawks to win and laying the 3.5 and the over.
Mm-hmm.
You like Baltimore a lot. I like them a little. I like Baltimore to win, but I like Arizona to cover coming off the bye, and I like the under to hit. Both of us are taking Cincy to win. There's going to be a snowstorm up in Denver this weekend, but we're both taking the Chiefs to win, plus laying the 7. Overs 47.5. Too much scoring for in the snow, so we're both taking the under.
Yeah.
Finally, I'm taking the. Okay, first of all, this is the Sunday night game. Chargers at Bears. Or sorry, Bears at Chargers.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't flex out of this, but it is what it is. There will be no World Series game that night. So everyone that will be stuck watching this game, just shut up and watch it. I don't want to hear any complaining. Either you're going to watch this game or you're just going to read a book. Just shut up. So Bears with T-Bag at the Chargers. Even though the Chargers should just shit stomp the Bears, most likely they won't. So I'm taking the Chargers to win. I like the Bears to cover the 8.5, and I like the under to hit. You're taking the Chargers to straight up just win the game, lay the 8.5, but the under is going to hit. And
I forgot the Monday night game.
all good. Are we both taking the Lions to straight up win?
Yeah, I thought I put it in there. Oh, that's because. Hang on. Ah, there we go.
There it is.
Ah.
Yeah, with the Lions getting beat down a week before, I'm taking. I think the Lions come out and just kick the Raiders' ass, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So we both like. I mean, the Lions are favored by 8, over under 46. I'm taking the Lions to win. You're doing the same thing. We're laying the 8, and we like the over to hit.
Yeah, that's going to be an ugly one.
Sounds like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, those are our picks for Week 8. Should we do a little Jackass of the Week?
Jackass of the Week. Down.
All right, Steven, who do you got?
All right, so my Jackass of the Week is, well, I had an honorable mention. If the honorable mention is the same as you, then I will not mention it. But if it's not, then I will mention it after you're done with your Jackass of the Week. But mine is the ESPN social media page.
Yes.
Or the social media team that runs actually not even ESPN, the Sports Center account, because Sports Center posts. I wish I had the video available. I don't have the video available, but Sports Center posted a video after Damian Lillard made his debut for the Bucks. It was Lillard like standing awkwardly far from the reporter, and Lillard's wearing a Bucks jersey, is on the court with a Bucks logo, and he says something to the effect of, "I'm not here to waste my time. Like, I'm, blah, 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 blah. I'm not here to do this. I'm not here to do that." And he's doing that all wearing a Bucks jersey. And the caption from the Sports Center Twitter account is, Dame's not here to waste time in Milwaukee, and all that stuff. So you think, oh, this is something with Milwaukee. Wow, he's really there to win a championship. But then come to find out that the Sports Center page had photoshopped everything. This was not his time during the Bucks. The reason he was standing awkwardly far away from the reporter was because this was from the Blazers in the bubble. And he's basically saying his time in Portland, he's not here to waste any time. It was very, aggressive in a way, like I'm not here to mess around. And it just totally misrepresented him, because I don't think after one game he's going to be going to a reporter saying, I'm not here to mess around. Like, I'm not here to waste my time. I don't think he's going to be saying that about the Bucks. Not after that debut where they pretty much just let him go Dame time, even though it was his first game of the season. So just the ESPN Sports Center social media team, they're the jackass of the week for just completely misrepresenting Damian Lillard. And this is why guys like him hate the media. It's because of stuff like that.
I agree with you. I saw this and I wasn't really aware of it, but I saw that I saw the post game interview and I was damn sure that wasn't the same thing, because it looked weird to me and I was like, he didn't say that.
Yeah.
I would say in their defense, it's not necessarily like them saying he necessarily said that after the game. It's just him saying, like, I'm already here. I'm not wasting time. But to put him in the Bucks jersey is misleading. It's kind of the same deal where Deion Sanders, they have the old archival footage of him saying, this is my house. And he's talking about the Atlanta Falcons.
Right.
And they have a buffalo, the Colorado Buffalo in the background, making it seem like he's talking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like when social media accounts do this shit where they're changing the logos, they're changing the jerseys just to make it seem like they're talking about something else, which they're not talking about. So while I understand what they were trying to do, and I'm sure what their defense will be, it's a bad look.
It's a terrible look. It just like journalism just out the window. You're completely fooling everybody. And at least that Dion one, I think that was kind of made out of irony. It's just like,
Yeah.
He's with Colorado. Nobody's going to fall for this old iconic Falcons clip, except for
Dove Kleiman.
But that's because Dove Kleiman's probably a teenager. But the whole thing with Lillard, like, it's just, this one was just some random piece from the bubble that nobody's really going to remember. No, everyone knew about that Dion thing. Like, this is my house. Everyone knew that with Dion, but with this one, like, nobody really knows what that is. Nobody could dispute it right from the naked eye, unless you're a really diehard Blazers fan and you remember every bubble interview that he had. But this one it's just not the same. So, yep, they're my jackass of the week.
That's fair. All right, just curious, what was your honorable mention?
No, I want to hear yours, and then we'll see after if it's the same one. Because I don't know what your jackass of the week is, and I don't want to ruin it in case this is your one.
But we're probably on the same page here. I'm not familiar with this guy at all. Blueface?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. This was the honorable mention.
Dude, I'm all for having fun, but and I'm not trying to sound like get off my lawn type of guy, but you can't have fucking strippers show up to a NFL game and have that act go on where it's, I know it's supposed to be like a family environment thing. Also, I don't like saying that because I've been to a bunch of Raider games and it's not like that. While they try to have that, go on, but that was disgusting. Like, you can't have that in an NFL game. And then he's calling out Kelly Stafford, Matthew Stafford's wife, calling him a Karen because she didn't like it. I don't think anybody liked that. It's disgusting and should not be going on at NFL games.
Yeah, anyone who responded, because I saw some comments about what did he do wrong? Like, there's nothing wrong with this. Like, this is an NFL game. Anything goes. Like, shut up. And the people that look up Blueface, this is what he does.
He's rapper names too today. Jesus Christ.
The reason, well, he is supposedly because he's a Crip, even though someone did some digging and he grew up in the suburbs. But he Blueface should be sponsored by Blue Chew. Nice, Ernie too.
Don't be messing with Guru sponsors. Come on.
But just chew it and do it. But man, Blueface is this guy who came out with one song. He's the definition of a one-hit wonder. I looked back at his discography. He hasn't made anything since 2020, and his only hit is "Bust Down Tatiana." it's not even a song you like because of the artist. It's a song because the women like he had at the game, they just love shaking their fake butts to it. It's like my goodness, man, if you would have like poked like a needle, like just a bunch of, it would have been like a balloon, just like
just all the goo
deflation.
comes out.
Deflation. Like I just watched Scary Movie last night.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
You know when
Yeah,
when
oh, yeah.
the guy stabs Carmen Electra and then like the gelatin pops out? Yeah,
Yep.
that's what it would be like. It would just like a bunch of gelatin everywhere.
Oh.
Silicone all over the Rams stadium. Silicone would just flood the stadium. But not him calling out Matt Stafford, and it's like, oh, I should have told you what to do in that Rams game. Like, dude, you were a high school. Like, he apparently was really good in high school. I actually think he went to the same high school as our guy Nash. Nash or within Nash's like district or something like that. Apparently he was a really good high school quarterback. But when I hear star quarterback in high school, all I hear is a guy who probably had the chance to make it in college or potentially the pros, but just didn't work hard enough.
Uncle Rico.
And his work ethic clearly with music, he comes out with these out. Like I looked up, I saw his debut album. This was his breakout. And it's like 20 minutes long. 20 minutes.
That's not an album.
That's an LP.
Yeah.
Like, that's not an EP.
Or no,
that's an EP. That's an EP, not an LP. Like, come on. So I don't know. Just really tired of this guy and anyone who is okay with what he did. It's like, why?
Yeah, like I don't have a problem with Paul Pierce doing that in his own home, but don't bring that shit to an NFL game.
No,
like that. We don't. Come on.
Yeah,
and if I was in the NFL, I would say you're not invited to NFL games anymore.
100%, because you're also giving a bad look to. You're definitely giving a bad look to Kelly, his wife. Like, as soon as someone says that, oh, this girl's a Karen, then these teenagers that are all over social media will just believe it like that without doing any research, without doing any investigative journalism, as they should, before they make snap judgments. Well, young people are so quick to make snap judgments on anyone. So when you have someone calling them a Karen, well, those people are going to think she's a Karen for the remainder of the time.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, I'm kind of tired of that term. Like, I understand where it comes from, and it's appropriate at certain moments, but like just throwing it out there for every woman that doesn't like something, like, I think that's stupid.
Yeah, I agree, and it's played out. It's kind of like the term canceled. Like, canceled is not a thing. Louis C.K. is performing at the Madison Square Garden. He's not canceled. All right. Like,
exactly.
there's no such thing. Dave Chappelle was not canceled. Dave Chappelle's still making headlines by doing stand-up. Shout out to Boston. But yeah, man.
What happened in Boston?
Yeah, he just talked about the Israel-Hamas conflict and really divided a lot of the people in that stand-up theater. And I guess like a lot of them walked out.
Oh, Dave.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I forgot what he said.
What happened to the jokes?
Yeah. Yeah, I know, right?
I love him, but I don't love everything he says. I'll say that.
What happened to the days of Mitch Hedberg just saying something stupid like, an escalator's never broken. When an escalator's broken, they simply become stairs. What happened to those days?
Yep, simpler times. All right, Steven, you don't want me to give away anything from Killers of the Flower Moon because you're seeing that later today, huh?
Yes, I am seeing that at 2:15. So
enjoy.
I'll be out of the theater by 6:30.
Yes, it's quite long, especially if there's previews beforehand.
Oh,
what theater are you going to?
I don't know. I forgot.
Oh,
I think we're going to one in Emeryville, maybe.
Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Well, enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah. Supposedly Jesse didn't see any tickets for the ones in East Bay here, but people have been telling me differently, and I haven't really called her out for it, so I might have to.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that movie's not playing at all in Walnut Creek.
Or I could just be totally like ESPN Sports Center. I could just totally be misrepresenting her, and we are going to see it locally, and I'm just the jackass of the week.
Could be the case. I am on to go see if Caleb Williams is the real deal. Going to go see Cal and USC. We'll let you know what I think of him come Tuesday. We'll react to if any trades happen, and we'll all the games that happen this weekend, and the Killers of the Flower Moon review may take some time, so maybe save that for next week.
Not to spoil the parade that's about to happen with you going to Cal's Memorial Stadium, but can you really get a true evaluation on Caleb Williams when he's playing the Cal defense?
Probably not. But just want to see him in person and see if he's actually good.
Yeah, I think you're gonna find that why he's the number 1 overall pick. It's when he destroys teams, and I think Cal's gonna be one of them because it's not gonna be like last week. Who'd they lose to last week? Was it
Utah?
It was Utah. Yeah, and then UW had that game. God damn, who did UW play last week? Can't remember. Anyway,
what are you talking about?
Didn't Washington lose too?
Did they lose?
Did they lose or did they win that game? God damn it, I can't remember.
They had an amazing game against Oregon 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, not the one against Oregon. I'm talking about last week. I'm gonna look it up right now. I have to. Washington. Oh, they beat Arizona State. It was a close one against ASU, but they beat them.
Interesting.
They didn't have any offense. It's 15 points. It's like,
wow.
Yeah.
What was the final score in that game?
15-7.
Wow. Jesus.
Yeah.
Penix.
Washington couldn't get anything going. Big Penix energy.
And on that note, we'll see you guys on Tuesday. Steven, say what you always say.
Big Penix energy. Come on, we got big Penix energy. That's just our opinion, man. Big Penix.